welcome to the Golden Hour and the Manifest to Live Life Golden YouTube and podcast show. I am Golden Duffy, your host, and today we are talking about a very interesting subject, something that I'm going to go a little deeper today on frequencies and the nature of how our frequency matters, how what we are conducting in this world, what our vibration is doing actually is creating. And I have a couple of really cool examples that made this come to the forefront for me and wanting to share it. So a couple little household things. If you go to my YouTube channel, Manifest to Live Life Golden, and subscribe there, you will actually get notifications of when this show goes live. And you can also watch the shows after they go live. On the E360 app, I think it takes a little while for the shows to upload. So if you miss that live show, it may take a couple of days for it to show up. Also, a lot of times on the podcast site, which is Spotify, I do share those sometimes a little earlier if I record them, which I am doing this week. So that's just a little household stuff. Also, my posts every day on Facebook. If you're not a fan of social media and trying to find my posts every day, but you like my posts every day, which are there every single day, I channel a post just for you. You can sign up at www.livelifegolden.com, and I will have those emailed to you for the most part every single day. I'm trying to remember to do it every single day, but it's a cool thing because then it goes to your email inbox and you'll have a little positivity in your email inbox or something to help you shift every day and remember who you are. That's the nature of what we're doing here. That's the nature of the messages that I'm sharing every day are about waking you up to who you truly are and letting go of this idea of the world is against me, or I feel powerless, or I'm not in alignment, or any of that, or I'm attracting bad stuff, or feeling bad for your negative energy. All of that stuff needs to go. It's very ego-centered, very ego-based if you're going to step into the mastery of awakening and learning how to be this powerful creator. And not in every single moment. It's not important to be that way every single moment. It's not even attainable in every single moment. I am not even doing this every single moment, and I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of talking about it. I was wondering where my phone is, and I just heard it go off, so it's got to be close by, right? I guess not. Okay, so moving forward, let's just move forward. It's not attainable for you to be in this positive mindset all the time. We are humans. We are spirits having a human experience. And once you start to shift that and realize that and understand that more, that you are on this journey for specific reasons to learn and expand and grow and get to know your soul better, get to know that mechanism within you that everything is going well for. Everything is exactly the way it's supposed to be. Everything is destiny, because whatever is happening or whatever has happened was supposed to happen. And when you start to understand that and you step into this world where when things go what looks like wrong, right? Again, keep this in mind. Every single thing is meaningless. It's meaningless until we give it meaning. So if we give it a particular meaning, like we look at something like a flat tire and we say, well, this is probably going to line me up with some good stuff, then that flat tire no longer becomes part of a bad day. It actually becomes something of a miracle. It becomes something of an opportunity. So all things can be that to you. Head colds, illnesses, losing your job, breakups in relationships, all of those things can bring you to a place of new awarenesses, new clarities, new consciousness, growth, and an ability to take a circumstance or situation and assign a new definition to it, a new meaning to it, because our meanings are what creates for us, right? If you, let's say, you have a situation with someone and you make a bunch of assumptions. One of my favorite books is The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. One of my favorite books, because there's like 4 laws in there. One of them is take nothing personally. But if you are taking things personally and you have a disagreement with someone or something happens with that person and you put a meaning on it that you're unlovable or they're attacking you or you're powerless, those meanings are what creates the next moment. Those meanings are what continues the signal to that situation, to that relationship. So everything is the definition and the meaning that we give to it. And to me, I really feel like this is good news. I really do, because I have the ability, you have the ability to have space before you create meaning. And, there is habitual patterns and loops. There's definitely habitual patterns and loops. I find myself going into it less and less. But, I have wonderful people around me to remind me, why are you looking at it that way? Why are you giving it that meaning? Because the meaning you give to it determines what's going to happen next. So if everything is vibration, if everything is frequency, I love to look at my wave behind me, because this is the wave of creation, I like to call it. If all your thoughts, all your feelings, not all of your thoughts, but mostly your feelings, that state, that mood that your signature mood that you carry around with you all day, right? Maybe you're not, Mr. or Mrs. Wow, my camera was really dirty. Was I blurry? Jeez Louise. Maybe you're not Mr. or Mrs. Wow, I look so much better. That was crazy. Maybe you're not Mr. or Mrs. Positive all the time and you find yourself really being negative and cynical. That is the signature vibration that you have aligned yourself with through the years. Can you change? Absolutely. But remember this, you have momentum, which momentum happens on all that stuff that you're, right? All the stuff that you're sending out. And so there's a momentum on the energy field that's coming back to you. So when you first start to change, it takes a little while for the energy to catch up to that change in your state or your mood. You will see evidence of it changing, but you also may look at circumstances and go, it's staying the same. And if you do that, you don't send a new signal, right? If you respond the same, you don't send a new signal. And I've got a couple of really cool examples. So I was thinking, I did share this story quite a ways back, but I'm going to share it again because new things happened from it. And I want to explain the whole process of what I just experienced. So a couple of months ago, so we have these e-bikes here. I don't know if you have e-bikes in your town, but California is full of e-bikes, and they are full of very young children on bicycles that have motors that go very fast, that are electric. Maybe they don't have motors, but they go very fast, 20, 30 miles an hour. These kids are not licensed for this. They haven't been taught how to. They haven't had safety courses, and they're amongst us in traffic, parking lots. And in my defense, in our defense, we're not used to this. So you'll be in a parking lot and a kid will come zooming out of anywhere. So you have to be very diligent and very aware. I've had a couple of run-ins, actually just one particular negative run-in with these kids who came up on me in a parking lot and scared me. And I kind of jumped and yelled, and they started swearing and yelling profanities at me. So then we start to build this kind of feeling around these kids being, we've talked about it before, that they're gangsters and, they have no parental, involvement, and they're just being led to just run wild and free, and they can't handle the freedom. And so, you have all these beliefs and you have all this momentum and you have all this kind of angst and resentment about it. So I've really been working on it because I noticed, and I want you to notice this in your own life experience, where you're doing this. So I noticed, and they're all over the place all day, every day, right? So I see them very often. I noticed how those children can pull me out of my joy and cause me to create judgment, angst, worry, fear, upset with parents that are just letting these kids go anywhere. One of the things that I realized when I was driving my kids around a lot, and that's part of the thing, is like, as parents, especially of teenagers who have crazy schedules or sports schedules or, dance or whatever they do, you have to drive a lot. I was talking to a friend the other day and he said his wife feels like she lives in the car. And I get that. I did that for years. And those times that we were in the car together were precious. It's when I reconnected with my kids. It's when, I would listen to their music and hear their friends and hang out with their friends and get to know their little lives instead of just letting them run and do their own thing and I'm off the hook, right? So as I see these kids on these bikes, I make judgments and it pulls me out of my joy. It does not, because I'm like aware and I've got a little bit of fear that they're going to jump in front of me or, we're going to have an altercation. So I started to work on that because whatever it is in your life that you're doing that with, understand that it is eroding your frequency. It is eroding that signature state, that signature mood that is creating in your life. So you may not see evidence from that, but throughout the day, you may have other reasons to feel irritated, agitated, anxious, fearful. It's tuning you into a frequency, just like a radio station. So I start working on this and I'm starting to try to soften around it and not have so much judgment and maybe be just a little more neutral. But then I see things like these kids going down main roads and we have like a lot of lanes and we have a lot of lights. So there's a lot of cars on the road and I'll see these kids going down the road, popping a wheelie with their foot on the seat, literally with their foot on the seat. Like they're not even in the seat. They're up in the air, 1 foot. And I'm just like, wow. So I started just doing wow. So letting that go, working on my vibration about it, not trying. I don't like the word trying, but working on becoming determined to focus differently. So I go for a walk one day. And as I'm coming back from my walk, I see this woman pulled over and she's pulled over in this little road that goes to the hiking trail and goes to a church. So there's not a lot of people, but there's a pathway that goes to the high school. I've walked by the high school. There's over 200 of these bikes there. I mean, there's a lot of these bikes that these kids are riding to school. So they kind of come through the path of where I walk. So I see this woman and she's pulled over and I see a kid on the ground. So I go running over and she is like clueless. She has no idea what to do. She's like, he fell. He is all banged up, bloody, on the ground, crying. And he's probably like 14 or 15 years old. And so this woman doesn't know what to do. So I just start talking to him. As I'm talking to the boy to try to figure out, like, can I call your mom? Another woman drives by and makes an assumption. Here we go with assumptions. That woman hit the boy with her car. And then the woman left because I took over. That woman left because I don't know if she didn't speak English. It was kind of a weird situation, or maybe it just made her nervous. So I started talking to the boy, and the woman who drove by and saw this other woman started screaming, call 911, call 911. So I talked to the boy and I'm like, do you want me to call 911 or do you want me to call your mom? And he's like, just call my mom. And I could tell I wasn't going to pick him up because I was like, you don't touch people that crash like that. So I get his phone. And then meanwhile, this other woman comes from out of nowhere and gets him to kind of sit up on the thing. So I call his mom. She doesn't answer. So I call and then I give the phone to him. Or I have him call from his phone because she wasn't answering my phone. And she's like, I'll be right there. So the woman who was freaking out calls 911. And all of a sudden, we're all standing there and like, I'm not even kidding you, it's like 7 fire trucks show up. Like, it is insane. Sirens, police, fire trucks. Because this woman called 911 and I believe she said he got hit by a car. So in the meantime, she comes running over and she sees that the boy is okay. And she is literally losing her mind. Now I'm like very calm because there was no reason, right? There was no reason for me to give this another meaning other than let's just see how this boy is and see what he needs. She is flipping out. So she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And she felt very regretful that she had called the ambulance and that she was freaking out. And she told me she thought the woman hit her. Well, it turns out her son wanted an e-bike. The night before, he had asked her for an e-bike for Christmas, and she was like, hails to the no. And so she was taking pictures of this kid who's all banged up, may have broken his arm. His hip was all scraped up. He said he was going about 20 miles an hour and he wiped out going around the corner. Ugh, yikes. So this mother's fear, I believe, truly manifested this in her path and made it so much more intense than mine. So in the fire trucks come, the police come, and I'm like, I don't really need to be here any longer. I just, wish the kid well, and I leave. And through that experience, I really felt like I had a shift. Like, these are just kids and they're getting to school and they've got freedom and they feel great. And I just really started to move my vibration on it, where I just didn't send out that signal anymore of disgust or angst or worry or fear. Kind of started blessing them when I see them, when they've got a couple of kids on a bike and they're popping wheelies, just started blessing them, sending angels like I do. So yesterday, I had this realization yesterday because I'm not even realizing what I've done. Like, because it's so subtle when we do this, our frequency can be so subtle when we start to change things. And the only way we really know that we've created change within our frequency or in our signature mood is by how we respond to life. Our response tells us everything. So you can be like, oh my gosh, I was thinking so positive and then this terrible thing happened. Well, you probably weren't as positive as you thought. There was probably underlying stuff going on or momentum that needed to be cleaned up. So yesterday I'm walking in a path and I go in this path and I go down this little way, and there's two different paths that are super narrow, that kind of cut away from the road. I like to be away from the road, and then they go into the woods. So I'm on this path and all of a sudden right in front of me is one of these kids on these bikes, which I feel like he's not even really supposed to be on that path because it is so narrow, and he's going super fast. Looks like a motorcycle rider. Like, he's got the big helmet on, and he scares me, and I yell, and he instantly slows down and he goes, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And I was like, it's okay. It's okay. He just scared me. And then two other boys came behind him, and I just said, boys, you need to slow down. And they said, we're sorry. We're really sorry. And I just felt like, oh my goodness, I did that. I shifted the vibration. And I thought to myself, alls we really want is kindness in the world. We just want love and compassion in the world. We don't need to scream at these kids. We don't need to be upset with these kids. They're doing what everybody else is doing, right? They're doing what their parents are allowing them to do. And the parents, as I saw from this woman, are really in a state of, I'm not going to say powerlessness, but it's really hard when everybody else is doing it and you won't let your kid do it, and your kid's becoming miserable from it, right? Like, this mental health stuff is huge. So it's a challenging situation, but it's one that I feel like I've shifted, and I'm really happy about that. So I would ask you, what is it in your experience that you are contributing to that negative frequency, that negative vibration, the angst, the resentment, the regret, whatever it is? Like, every time you think of it, you send that signal out. Now, you may think, oh, I'm just thinking about the past and I'm just dwelling there and it doesn't really matter. But the truth is, you're tuning yourself into a radio station that is going to align you with that past experience or how you felt in that past experience. So it's really important to start looking at those things that are eroding your day. They are eroding your joy. They are taking you out of the moment, out of the present moment. They are placing you in position for more things like that to happen, for more bike accidents, for more, like, we're in charge here. So yes, stuff's going to happen in front of us. And, it's not always necessarily about what we are attracting. It's about us understanding and becoming more aware of how we are responding. And when you respond differently, this happened to me so many times in our financial situation. When you respond differently, that's when you tell the world of abundance to to conduct differently in your experience. We've had a lot of things happening recently with our appliances. My refrigerator was messed up for a while. It was it ended up being a water, it actually ended up becoming an electrical issue, but we thought we were going to have to pay like $800 to fix this refrigerator to get water out of it, that we bought like out of 5 years ago. And I ended up, so the first guy who came was not very smart. Maybe he's smart, but not smart in my problem. He didn't understand what issue I was having. So he orders 2 different kinds of parts. It's over $800 for the parts, and he's hopeful that he's going to be able to fix it. So we end up dragging our feet on it because my husband was going to try to do it. And then the original person I had called for the parts never ordered the parts. It was just like, it's been like 2 months of buying water, and it's just ridiculous. So I said to my husband, I said, I do not want the same man we had before. We need a different technician to come to fix this problem. Because I also didn't really like his personality. Like, we weren't vibing. So the day that the guy comes to fix the refrigerator, it's this amazing guy, and he's like super friendly and super awesome. And we're like just so kind and so sweet. So we have this interaction. He's like, oh, I know what's wrong. He's like, I've seen this like 10 times with these refrigerators. He goes, it's a wire underneath that got shorted out and I can't fix it. But if your husband is handy, your husband can fix it. So he got on the phone with my husband, told my husband how to fix it, didn't have to pay $800 to fix it. It was like an amazing manifestation. But if you get to the point where you have a broken appliance and you are like pushing and upset and, oh my goodness, and you're in that like the sky is falling energy, then you're probably going to end up paying $800 for the parts. We had a dryer broke. We ended up going and buying a new one. We have now our washer is being replaced, which our washer is 3 years old, is also broken. Tried to fix it, didn't work. We're wiping the slate clean. The cool thing about all of it is my frequency, because in the past I would freak out. I would absolutely freak out about appliances. You know, nobody loves this stuff. It's not planned for. It's money out of the bank. It doesn't really feel that great, but I've just been very nonchalant about it. And so has my husband, and he's got these like Home Depot points because he does so much shopping at Home Depot. So we're basically like getting it on Home Depot points. And we did the same thing with the dryer. So the more you can be that way, the more you can keep, and I get it because stuff happens and it doesn't feel good. But the point is, are you going to give your power away to that feeling, that neural habit and loop of feeling like crap when things happen, of not feeling assured that everything's going to work out for you? This is another level of awakening. It is an absolute other level of awakening because it takes into account faith, trust, believing that things are always working out for you. I mean, these are all the programmings that we are going against from when we were younger, where it was like, have a plan B, the shoe's going to drop, you know, things are going too good if it's too good to be true. All of those programmings that we had, this goes completely against it. So I heard this story yesterday, and this is what made me actually want to do the show. And it was a video I was listening to on YouTube, and he was talking about a guy who had he was really into music, super passionate about music. And he wanted all the bells and whistles in his car to like play the best music, but he couldn't afford it. So he got like the next best thing, had the music in his car, and lo and behold, it gets stolen out of his car. So instead of getting like and they ended up like damaging part of the car and the console as they took it out. So the insurance, you know, kicked in and said, take it to this garage and get it fixed. And the whole time the guy is just like in this super positive vibration about it. Like, everything's going to work out. It's all good. And because he was in that vibration of it all being good and not getting like super upset about it or angry about it or feeling powerless about it, he ended up manifesting the garage that told him, hey, we can fix this for a lot less for you. And then, you'll have extra money from the insurance company. So he ended up having exactly the right amount to buy the stereo system that he actually wanted in the beginning. So this is how this works. When you place yourself in faith and trust and that your well-being is assured, you attract the opportunities and experiences that will show you it much more quickly. It's like this wave behind me. As you send out that signal, right, it goes out into a wave and then it breaks down and becomes particles and turns into matter. That process takes a little time. So when something not so great happens, there may be time that you need to take to let go, to put your energy forward and then to pull back and let go. Because if things are not working out and not showing you the way, then that means that the energy field needs a little more time to work on it. The partnership of the universe needs a little more time to work on it, to line things up for you. So have faith, my friends. Have faith, my friends, because it's all leading you to more. So when we were living back in Connecticut, we had some serious financial stuff going on. 2008, 2009, wiped our businesses out. I'm sure you've listened to my shows before. If this is the first time ever, go back, listen to my shows. We went through a crazy amount of things, a crazy amount of powerlessness and unworthiness and poverty, never having enough money, and just serious angst. If it wasn't for all of that, I don't believe I would be as abundant as I am today, because that all taught me. So, we get to the point where we can't really pay our bills anymore. We can't pay our mortgage anymore. And they start to foreclose on our house, which is probably one of, next to like losing someone you love, or, having an illness that's like, has death as a sentence. Losing your home and what you built and having that feeling of just no security around you is extremely scary. It probably brought us to the knees in powerlessness and unworthiness better than anything else. But because that house was in foreclosure, it freed us. It freed us to save money because it was in foreclosure for a very long time. And they allowed us to live there, I think, for 4 years. I had made a really solid decision that I wasn't going to leave the house. They weren't going to take it from me. I was going to leave on my own accord, and I was going to give the house back, which really worked. And because of that house foreclosure and all of the financial stuff that we went through, it enabled us to leave and to move somewhere where we really wanted to live. Like my whole life wanted to live in California. So it enabled us to follow our dreams, because it released us from something that, could we have sold the house? Maybe. I don't know. The economy was so bad then, and things weren't, we would have had to probably sell the house for a lot less than we bought it for, because we bought it at the height of the subprime mortgages. And then coming to California and having that awareness around all of the financial struggle that we went to, and then having the momentum of that financial struggle with us, but changing our responses every single day, going to the sunset, looking for reasons to feel abundant, loving our lives, loving each other, not putting so much weight on how much money was in the bank account. When the bank account was minus, it was kind of like being a little lighthearted about it. Like, really, universe? Like, I'm putting so much currency out into the world. There's no way that I'm negative in this universe. There's no way. I'm worth so much more than this. And then watching it build over time and still working on it. We're still working on it, on how we feel, the signals we're sending to money, the things we do with money, how responsible we are. You can't spend yourself into abundance. A lot of people believe they can spend themselves into abundance, but, and there is a thing as money flow. So as you spend money and feel good about it, yes, the money will come back to you. But if you're spending the money to try to feel better, you don't have the vibrational connection. You don't have the vibrational alignment. Your wave is not strong enough to that abundance. So you may actually encounter a negative balance because you're trying to spend to feel better. So it's all about the way that you feel. It's all about the frequency and the state, the signature state that you are sending out every day. So how do you know your signature state? Basically, I would say the best way is how you feel when you get up in the morning, how you get out of bed every day. What are the first thoughts that you are engaging with as you get out of bed every day? And then what are the thoughts you're engaging with when you go to sleep at night? Because that's kind of like throughout the day, we're distracting ourselves, we're doing things, we're being asked things, we're just kind of running on automatic pilot. But when you wake up in the morning, you can kind of ask yourself, what kind of day am I going to have? How am I feeling? Uh, do I want it to be a good day? Do I want to be in gratitude? One of the things I realized lately is sometimes I will wake up in the morning and not feel great. Like it depends on, how well I slept, or many times I have headaches in the morning because I'm working on my neck and my sinus issues and all that. And it's getting so much better. I'm really excited about how much better it's getting. But there's often times when I have blood flow stuff going on. So in the morning, I'll just kind of have this like crushing headache. And it's like, do I want to complain about that headache, make that headache more? Or do I want to just get up in the morning, kind of make my coffee, and let the blood flow return to its normal state? And I have to say, I have not needed medication for my headaches. They've been going away within 10 minutes. And I'm just on a much better track instead of waking up and complaining. Or like a lot of times my daughters will be up in the middle of the night and making a lot of noise. And that can set me off in the morning to say something, just to say a little something to my husband about it. And it's like, do I want to start this day complaining? Because if I start the day complaining, what's going to happen to the rest of the day? What frequency is that going to tune me into that's going to create all of the scenarios that are going to come to me today? Do I want to manifest miracles and magic and lightheartedness and fun people? Or do I want to manifest complaining and looking at what's wrong and creating from the past, right? The night before is the past. And, if you're the type of person, I used to do this so much when my kids were little, where I would quantify my sleep. So I would wake up in the morning and I would count how many hours I got. I don't know if normal people do this. I don't know if I'm normal for this, but even when I was in high school, before I would go to sleep at night, I would figure out how to get 8 hours, because I got up super early for high school. I used to get up at like 5 a.m. because I just needed my time to myself. And I like to get to school early and have a cup of tea, and one of those crazy people. So I would quantify, okay, if I want 8 hours of sleep and I'm going to get up at 5, then I need to go to bed by this time to get that much sleep. And when my kids were little, if they were up in the middle of the night, I would figure out exactly how much sleep I got so I could tell my husband how much lack of sleep I got, right? So if you're doing that and you're up in the middle of the night and you're, looking at the clock a lot and, oh my God, I've been up for an hour, and oh my God, there's another hour. Don't do that anymore, because that just sets you up for anxiety and just, you have no chance of falling back to sleep if you do that. What I do now, I never add up my sleep. I never decide that I'm tired from how much sleep I've gotten. I just kind of roll into my day. I have my little bit of coffee. I'm back to coffee. Yes, people, I'm back to coffee, and I love coffee, and I realize coffee is a little bit of joy for me in the morning. So I have my one little cup of coffee in the morning and just set my sights on feeling energized, just being energized, just being in the energy field of feeling good and not saying, I'm so tired, I'm so tired, I'm so tired, and quantifying your sleep. Let that go. Also, waking up in the middle of the night, don't look at the clock. I very rarely look at the clock in the middle of the night, because that will set me up with, oh my gosh, I only have 3 hours left. It's not a good thing to do that to yourself. Instead, I count backwards from 100, and you can look on YouTube for the alpha meditations. That's what taught me this, the Silva alpha meditations. You count backwards from 100. And if you do it during the day, like if you do it as your meditation practice, it trains you. It trains your brain, it trains your organs, it trains your body, that when you start counting backwards from 100, your whole body will start to settle. And you won't be as easily or apt to grab thoughts when you're in the middle of counting. It's like counting sheep, right? They had something with the counting sheep thing. But the way to up level that counting sheep thing is to do the alpha meditation so that you create that memory, that muscle memory, that when you start counting backwards, that's your meditation time. Once you go into meditation, once you get into that alpha state of mind, they call it, the alpha state of mind is like, it's meditation. So your mind is clear. It's the step before sleep. So once you do that, you're on your way to falling back to sleep. So that was a little PSA on sleep. All right. So what else did I want to say? Everything is about the signal that you're sending. So get a hold of your signature signal, your signature mood, your signature state. Then understand that everything that happens after that, your state is going to determine a lot of what comes to you, But once your state is pretty well in place, you can't expect things, although it's fun to expect things to be perfect. It kind of sets you up. Instead, if you can go with the flow, understand that everything that's happening is assigned a definition and a meaning by you. And that definition and meaning by you determines what happens next. It's fascinating. And the quicker and easier and more aligned you are with everything is working out for me. That was like our favorite saying. Everything is always working out for us. Loved that saying, because that saying enabled us to get out of our creating from chaos, which we did a lot, which means if you're creating from chaos, this is what it means. It means that things have to get super, super bad, and you have to have a ton of desire before things will manifest for you optimally, before things will start to move in the direction of what you want. In that creating through chaos, for the most part, you're in a vibration or a frequency of what you don't want to happen. Think about the way it feels. You feel like, oh my God, we got to make something happen. We got to fix this. We got to, we can't just sit here. We got to do something. In order to create through a much easier process, a much more, a less bumpy process, right? Less speed bumps, less resistance, less pushing, less desperation. You come from, and of course that was part of our awakening, right? It was a huge part of our awakening, because there was a day where we started to say to ourselves, we don't want to create like that anymore. We're done creating through chaos. We are ready to be a partner with the universe. That's what this means. We're ready to partner with our universal co-creative partner and to give some things to the universe, to do what we can, to do everything that we can to make things flow, right? To send the right energy, to act on our inspirations, to follow our leads. We did all of that. But then at the end of the day, once we've done everything we can do, we let go and we allow. And that's the dance of the universe. That's the dance you do with the creation process. Because if you're constantly pushing, you're constantly desperate, you're constantly in angst, think about your signature state. You're not in the flow. You're not in passion. You're not in abundance. You're in these lower frequencies where energy moves much slower and energy needs to be pushed down there. And does it work? Absolutely. I've manifested so much stuff through desperation and chaos, like really amazing stuff and really incredible miracles. But is it fun? No, it's not fun. It's not fun. It makes it really suck along the way. And I do believe it's part of the awakening process, but it's not necessary once you start to recognize, this is my path. This is my journey. I'm expanding and growing. Everything that happens now, I look at it and I go, okay, what good can come from this? Where's my leading edge here? Where is my growing edge? What am I going to grow from in this? what good is going to come from this? Because it always does. I shared last week that my husband and I kind of went through a little rough patch last weekend or 2 weeks ago. Things are so good now. Things are so good now, and our communication is better, and we're more in love if that's possible, and we're more in gratitude for each other if that's possible. So sometimes those things that are not great, that we don't love, they really do lead us to more. They lead us to greater capacities for joy. They lead us to greater capacities for gratitude. You never feel as grateful for your health as when you've gone through an illness, when you don't feel good, right? When you got a fever, when you're laying in bed, when you're in the bathroom, whatever you're doing, when you're ill, you have such an incredible amount of gratitude for your health after you're not sick anymore. So, and I always say that about the rainy days. We're so grateful for sunshine right now in California. It's incredible. I don't know where my phone is. It's incredible because we've had so much cloudy, yucky weather that the sunshiny days, they feel amazing, where we definitely were taking sunny days for granted before. So where is your leading edge? Where is your growing edge? I'm going to do a little exercise towards the end. I'm going to try to save a little more time so I can do a longer one. So if you're listening to this in the car or whatever, you might want to pause it. I'll let you know what the minute is so that you can do this. I'm starting to add these little energy things because I really feel they're necessary. And it's a gift that I have that I actually haven't been giving. And I feel like it's time for me to do that. And on that note, something just popped into my head. I have made a decision as far as providing a service for those of you out there who are, now this is not a coaching thing. I don't want to call it a coaching thing because I don't want to call myself a coach. Because I think a lot in the coaching world, not that coaches are bad. I think coaches are amazing and I've had great experiences with coaching. But the opportunity that I'm going to be offering is going to be for one individual, one super special VIP experience with me, to work with me one-on-one and to learn all of these things that I know and awaken in a very rapid succession. So I'm going to provide that for one lucky person. I have not worked on putting it out to the world yet. I'm just announcing it on the show. I have some things coming up that I'm not going to be available for the next week. So next week, I probably will I am going to launch this next week to provide people an opportunity. There's going to be an application process. Things are going to be, because I need to work with the exact right person for this. And the universe is going to put us together. So there's going to be an application process, a questionnaire, and then I'm going to do some serious meditating on consideration. The fee will be, it will be it will be what I am worth and what this work is worth, doing this work with me. So there'll be, energy release stuff. There's going to be, you'll be able to let go a lot of your past or cycles you'll be able to let go of from doing this work with me. So I'm really excited about that. And I'm excited to offer that. I believe it'll just be for one person. It could be two people, but that's absolutely my limit to what I'm going to allow in this situation, because it is my time and it is precious. And this work is so exponential. If you talk to anyone who's worked with me before, it is incredibly effective in creating a life of joy and in moving towards your dreams and taking those leaps of faith. If you want to move somewhere, if you want to change jobs, if you want to change careers, if you're going through a rough patch right now, or if you're experiencing massive change in your life and you need that support, then reach out to me now at livelifegolden@gmail.com. And I will, I'll put you on the list for the application process when that gets formulated. So that's pretty exciting. That came to me, and I feel very strongly that this is where I need to go next in the process of manifesting and supporting those out there, these amazing people out there that get up, including you, that get up every single day and greet life and say yes to life and say yes to another day and want to get the very best out of this life that it has to offer, want to live to our greatest potentials. You guys, we have a world right now that I want to get out of the frequency of this. Like, I am seeing so much illness, so much devastation. And I don't watch anything that would even, it's just in my own experience in my field, I'm seeing so much of this going on where people are not healthy. They're not happy. They're not creating the very best. We live in a world that is, if you follow any of it, which I do not, that is one great way to erode your frequency, is to pay attention to what is being said out there. There was a really incredible post by Scott Alexander today. If you don't know Scott Alexander, he's amazing. He's on Facebook. He wrote the Rhino books and he talks about charging. And he just kind of went over the way the government has basically become this powerful entity that, was supposed to serve the people. And I'm not a political person, but what he was basically insinuating was that we need to take our power back. And I thought, okay, Scott, how do we do that? And a lot of people had said that on his post, like, how do we do that? And I thought, I was going to read you guys the post, but I don't like to be political and I don't like to dive into that frequency. But after reading it and deciding, this is how we do it. This is how we take our world back. We make ourselves the highest vibrational energies we possibly can, the highest vibrational beings that we can, which means we take care of ourselves. We don't live in obligation. We meditate a lot. We go out in nature. We do things that we're passionate about. We do things that fulfill us. We get out of the rat race. Somehow, some way, we take ourselves out of the rat race at some moments. Doesn't have to be all the time, but at some moments. We stop trying to, fill a hole with stuff. Yeah. And we get to know ourselves instead. We meditate. That is one of the number one reasons how we will take back our world, our country, our vibration, is by self-actualization, knowing who we really are so that we can't be pushed and pulled around, so that our vibrations can't be messed with, so that we don't pay attention to the propaganda and the fear that is being spouted. We don't know what's true, you guys. We don't know what's true. We take our power back in our food. Everybody says, oh my God, there's so much unhealthy stuff out there. It's align yourself with the good stuff. Stop eating so much sugar. Stop eating so much processed food. That's a way to take your health back. Start moving more, exercising more. I'm doing this thing right now that I just kind of got this idea from somebody on Instagram and I really liked it. I used to be a pretty avid runner and I stopped running because I don't even know why. I just stopped running. I started doing HIIT training for a long time. And I'm recently seeing this new physical therapist and he's okay with me running. He doesn't want me doing HIIT right now, but he's okay with me running. So I thought, okay, what would be the best way to run where I wouldn't be extreme and I wouldn't hurt my body? So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do a mile a day. A mile a day. So I walk for 4 to 5 miles and then one of those miles I run. I usually run the first mile, which feels great because then it's done and then I can just walk and be in nature and see all these beautiful things. So a mile a day. Imagine what would happen in your life if you started walking or running a mile a day. I would start out by walking if you haven't done it in a long time. But even if you're going to walk, I would say 3 miles a day would give you the greatest benefit. But I started out running for a minute, running for 30 seconds a couple of times during my run to work myself up. So that will change your vibration because it changes your endorphins and the chemical, downloads in your body, and it'll get your body moving. It will move energy. A lot of times we have stuck energy. We got to get this energy moving. Other ways that you can empower the world is just to be kind, to be in this high vibrational state where you are lighthearted, where you make a difference in people's day because you're fun and you're nice to be around and you shift the energy field in which they are in, just by being in this elevated state. So find a way to be elevated. Earthing. I talked about the earthing movie. Watch the earthing movie. It's incredible. We actually got an earthing mat for our bed. Get your feet on the ground, the actual ground. Get your bare feet on the ground. Something new that just came up that my daughters brought to my attention. Do I want to bring it to your attention? I'm not going to do that yet. I'm going to wait. Not ready to do that because it's always about the signal that we're sending. So I'm careful of what I put into your awareness that, I kind of get these downloads if there's readiness for it. All right, I'm going to drink a little water. We're going to do a little exercise. Last week, it was too short. I had to cut it short. So I'm going to do a good 5 minutes. Okay. So just take a deep breath. We're at minute 50 on the video. And I want you to take a nice, long, slow, deep breath. want you to take another one. And I want you to breathe in all the way from the bottom of your body. And then breathe out. And when you breathe out, I want you to focus on bringing all the air out of your lungs and bringing your rib cage down. So almost like you're moving your body down. And do it again. Make sure you get all the air out of your lungs. You get a lot of stale air in your lungs. So you want to like breathe so hard out that you have nothing left. And then maybe even hold it for a second. I just got some energy surges. Okay. All right. So we're in this wonderful state of being here together, of being one. And we just want to ask for clarity. We want to ask for connection, and we want to ask for a wonderful release. So a release to release all the energies. Ooh, it's already working. So releasing all those energies of fear, of powerlessness, of unworthiness, of distrust in the universe, distrust in yourself. Anything that's blocking your creative process, we ask that that is removed. Anything that is blocking your ability to be in faith and trust. And we just ask for a full awakening in this moment now, in this awareness together, the awakening of all that is. So open up the crown of your head. Imagine this light is coming 3 to 4 feet out, and it's coming all the way through your beautiful brain, all the way down the back of your head and your neck, through the front of your throat and your heart. We're just expanding. We're becoming more in this light because we are light beings. So as we let go, take another deep breath and let that go. Something's like shooting up. As we let go of these things that no longer serve us, we open ourselves up to things that do, the things that are, the things that will, the things that are more us. Help us to become more of who we truly are, which is a spirit having a human experience. So bring that light all the way down into your abdomen, all the way down into your root, in your legs, your arms. Just let it all relax. Yeah, just let it go. Let the weight of the world go. And as you allow the weight of the world to go, your breathing becomes a little deeper, a little easier, a little less obstructed. Your mind becomes a little more quiet. Your awareness becomes a little more clear. And that light goes all the way around you, wrapping you up in this warm, wonderful blanket of worthiness and truth, of power, of powerfully connecting you to this universal energy that you are an expression of. The partnership, the truth, the connection, the love, the full awareness that everything is always working out for you. Placing yourself in this light, in this frequency, in this new state of being, to allow your signature state to be a little lighter, a little more lighthearted, a little more apt to be satisfied, to find gratitude, to have an awareness that your manifestation powers are assured, that there is no reason to be in fear, because you have the greatest partner that was ever created. You are part of this universal flow. And as you raise your frequency, as you bring yourself into your awareness of self, of true soul self, you let go of the smaller self, which allows you to let go of being self-critical, judgmental, blameful, or a victim. And you see yourself as the true power of the nature of your being. You see yourself abundant and free and fully connected to your dreams and your abilities to manifest those dreams. So just let all of that energy acclimate each one of your cells, bringing you to new awareness, allowing you to walk away from this show today with a whole new vibration, a whole new state of frequency, so that you can manifest what you are interested in, so that you can place yourself in the best opportunities and the greatest potentials. All right, you guys, that's my show for today. Don't forget, I have 3 books on Amazon: Quantum Speak for Parents, Mindful Manifestation Secrets, and Mindful Manifestation Secrets Daily Guide and Journal. The Mindful Manifestation Secrets is also on Audible now, which is pretty exciting, and I can give you a free copy if you reach out to me. You have to sign up for 3 months, but you don't pay anything, and you can cancel it before you pay. So it's actually read by me, so that's pretty cool. So this week, notice your frequency. Notice what you're giving your attention to. Notice how you're waking up in the morning. You have the ability to take your power back in every possible way. And I love hearing about it. So let me know how good things are going and if you need any assistance. I love y'all. Peace.